Back in 2020, right before the pandemic happened and all the shutdowns, me and my friend Riley recorded a video with my 2006 Boxster base. That was a fantastic car, but sadly it met its demise early, I think about last year. So this is my new car. I'm going to show you everything about it that I think is really cool. I'm going to show you all the features, some of the modifications I've done, but they're not really modifications. They're just kind of like little things I've done here and there. Some ideas that I have for the future and some stuff that I have planned for this channel. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thank you for watching. This particular vehicle is a 2006, so it's the first year that the Cayman was available, and this is the S model, so it's got the bigger red brake calipers. It's got the bigger 3.4 liter flat six that makes 295 horsepower. Up front, as you can see, it's a lot different basically with the front grille than the Boxster was. You can see the different circular fog lamps instead of the longer strips there. And another way you can tell the S is the silver trim in a few different places on the vehicle. One of the few things I've done on the outside was, of course, you have to change to the clear side marker lamps, of course. It looks really great across this seal gray paint, which is one of the many optional colors for this vehicle. I think for any good vehicle, the first place to start would be the key. So here's the key. This is an aftermarket key. My other one stopped working, so this is my spare. But it's exactly how the other one would be. Up top, you have the lock and unlock button. As you can see, it changes. It blinks once for unlock, and it blinks twice when you lock it. Sometimes you can get them to make a noise, but this one makes a noise if the door or the trunk is open. It'll beep at you when you lock it. Up front, this has a little picture of a car with a little arrow, which means it will open up the front trunk. And of course, that means this one opens up the rear lid. One of the cool things about the Cayman is that it is a hatchback. So when you come around the back, as you can see, the whole rear lid pops and it opens just like that. In the rear, you have 9.1 cubic feet of space back here, which is pretty large. As you can see, there's a lower portion here that's it's pretty large back here, and you have an upper portion. It's divided by a divider back here, but it has a nice strap over here, so you could put like a suitcase down there. You also have a few different tie-down spots in the back here, which is great. This nice silver trim piece here. In the Boxster, this would be the normal trunk space right here, and there would be a cap, and this would be exposed right here. But this, when you pull this down, is where you put the oil and the coolant, which is pretty neat. I like that feature, and especially since when you open up the oil cap, it has almost like a little funnel. Makes doing oil changes much easier. Down around the back, you can see that there's some tabs back here, and you can undo those. It gives you access to the back taillights, which these are some aftermarket taillights, but they are fantastic. So they're super easy to install, especially because Porsche gives you pretty good access. Once you take this piece off, get really good access back there. And along the sides, as you can see, you have some speakers, especially because this has the Bose surround sound audio, and the top of the strut braces here. But in the back here, you do have storage on both sides. I find this storage much easier to access through the passenger compartment. As you can see, you can crawl right in, open them up, and there is a pretty good amount of space in there. As you can see, I can fit my arm in there, and that is going to be on both sides. And along with that, you have a piece right here which prevents stuff from sliding into the passenger compartment if you're braking hard. Now again, in the rear, since this is a rear mid-engine car, it's not going to be in the rear like a 911. The 911 engine would be right here on or behind the rear axle, but as this is a mid-engine car, it sits right underneath this carpeted piece right here. I'm not going to show that in this video because it does require some bolts to be taken out. After this carpeted piece comes out, there's kind of like a heat shielding, or like a separation compartment. Unbolt that and you get access to the top of the engine. On the left side is where the the engine air filter is. So it's a pretty easy change. I'll probably do a video on that. And then on the side, right about this area, is the oil air separator, which is a big thing for these vehicles. Those tend to go out and you'll have big clouds of smoke come out of the rear of the vehicle. They're pretty simple to fix. It's a good DIY trick, but I'm not going to show that in this video as well. Finishing up on the rear lid, it's carpeted and it does have a good little light here. But to close this, I usually just grab the latch here and you hold it about like chest height and you can let it go down. Sometimes it'll close, sometimes you have to give it a good little push down on the Cayman badge, but I love that Cayman badge. It looks so good. Up front, the Cayman S comes standard with 19-inch rims. I really enjoy the look of these rims as opposed to the ones on the Boxster that I had. Those were cool, but I definitely think this suits this vehicle. It's more of like a classy look, and it does sport a different style grille back here, but it is reminiscent of the Boxster on the side here. Moving to the front storage space, it's just to the left of the Porsche badge. As you can see, that little red handle. Move that off to the side, and this lifts up. Now, my struts are going out. It is something that happens on these vehicles, so it does want to fall down. It's something I'm going to get changed soon. But up front, 5.2 cubic feet of space up here. It's an additional space. There's a lot of storage space in these vehicles. It's something that makes this car particularly important to me. It's fun to have a nice sports car, but to also be able to carry around stuff for a vacation or whatever. So up front, there is a DVD changer or a CD changer. This vehicle is not equipped with it, so if you pull this down, it's just empty. So they just kind of left that there. There's another space up top here. You can see it's just empty. Under this tiny little plastic panel right here is where you can do the brake fluid. It's .4. So put that back. You got your washer fluid up here. Pretty easy to get to. Underneath this compartment is the battery. So you're going to twist those two tabs. That piece comes up. Access to the battery. It's pretty easy. It's very easy to replace your own battery in here, which is nice. Along the side, this is the glow-in-the-dark handle if you ever get kidnapped, or if you get stuck in here. These tabs twist right here, and the carpet pulls back so you can put in a special tool that allows these front headlights to pop out. They're on rails, so as soon as they're released, they can just slide out. Easy to replace, easy to do work on them if you want to polish them or whatnot, or if you want to change over to an LED light or change the bulbs out. This is the HID bulb, so I would not recommend touching those if you don't know what you're doing, because you can get zapped pretty hard. So I'm going to show you that special tool now. Gain access to the special tool and some other tools in the vehicle. In the front, these two tabs come out, and this full compartment folds down. You have towing eye right here. This is a toolbox, so that splits open. You got some special tools in there. This is some tire sealant, but it's probably expired because this is from 2006. You have the air compressor, and in this toolkit, I will show you is the special tool for the headlights. The toolkit split apart. You can have a wrench, and this is a cool little screwdriver. The end comes out so you can flip it between Phillips head and a flathead screwdriver. And this piece right here comes out. You can see the bit end right there, and this side allows you to push this in and twist, and it will unlock the rail to unlock those headlights for you. And on the outside, right on the passenger side, is the fuel door. Just press on one side, it opens up. Got the fuel cap in there, and this does lock. As you can see, when you lock the car, this will lock, and then good to go. Moving over to the interior, you can either use the electronic key to open and close the door, or you can use the key hole to unlock the doors, as I had to do when my key stopped working. So these door handles are kind of cool. They're pretty common to all other Porsches, and Audis actually, the newer Audis have this as well, but they lift up instead of just out like normal. So I think that's just a kind of cool little trick in there. And this interior is really, really nice. This car only has 16 13,000 miles. When I bought the car, it's not focusing there, but when I just bought this car, it had about 13,000 miles. So I put about 3,000 miles on this vehicle. It is a blast to drive, especially with the 6-speed manual transmission, which was optional. The 5-speed or the 6-speed manual was an option in the base, but the Cayman S comes standard with a 6-speed manual. You could also have an option of the Tiptronic, but that's not for me. The car's slower, heavier, and I just rather row through the gears myself. So you can see you have the 3-pedal layout down here, and I'm going to show you how to adjust the seats because they're a little bit interesting. As a side note, on the seats there is tabs on both sides. Pull it up and you can move the front seat forward. You have a little tab back here if you want to put like dress clothes or a suit you want to keep clean. And these are the sport seats, so they're a little bit more bolstered. It has these additional side pieces right here, and this one does not have the sport steering wheel. So this is the standard wheel. If you remember to the Boxster video, this is where the Tiptronic gear would go, but since this is a manual, it's just a nice clean wheel with nothing special going on except for the horn. So this car also has the optional sport chrono package, so you can see you have the lap timer here and the sport button. The seats, as I said, there's 3 different ways to adjust them. On the back, you have the only electronic control, which adjusts the seat back, forward and back. There is a pump to change the height, and then you just press it down. It goes back down. And then there is a lever right here. When you push that up, you can move it forward and backwards. So it's a little strange to have 3 different controls, but it works, and I'd rather have these seats than a multi-way seat. So moving down, we have the Cayman S kick badge right here, which is really nice, and the button to open the front trunk and the rear trunk. This is pretty similar to almost every other Porsche besides, say, maybe the Macan and the Cayenne. So it's pretty nice. It's just like the Boxster, so it does give you an extra area. And these are electric, so if your car dies, the front hood will not open to get to the the battery. So in the floor panel here, if you remove this piece right here, you have a fuse box, and I'll show another video on how to hook up a battery charger to this, because it is not recommended to jumpstart these vehicles. So if you need a battery, please go check them. So comes with a little booklet here about all the different fuses. It's a pretty cool design. So that's where the fuse box is. Now that you've got a seat adjust, you may want to adjust the steering wheel. So down below the steering wheel is this lever. Once you pull it to the side, you can move the wheel up and down, and it telescopes just a little bit too. So now that you're comfortable, you could just push that off to the side. It locks it back in place. And now onto the mirrors, which are right on the driver's door, right over here. It is a really simple design. I really enjoy simple design. So over here, just move that off to the left, and you can control the left mirror. Switch it off to the right, you can control the right mirror. Dot to dot in the middle means you're not controlling anything. Moving over to the driver's door, as you can see, you have the Bose surround sound audio, which is really nice. You have the standard plastic door handles that these like to break, so just keep that in mind. They're kind of a pain to get reassembled. And another thing, you can see these window switches, brackets broken on the back of them, so you can kind of move them up, but I'll get that fixed eventually. Moving to the side, you have speakers, nice door panel. This one does not have the optional leather package, so this, I believe this is vinyl right here, but this is leather, which is nice. My Boxster, this was all vinyl, but this is all leather right here. Storage space on the compartments here for like sunglasses, because there's no sunglass holder on the roof. So that's usually what I use that for. Moving over to some other simple controls on the side here, we have the lights. So these are not automatic. So on the dot, that means they're off. So dot to dot means they're off. And you have the different lighting settings over here. It's mad because the lights are on now. And if you want to do fog lamps, pull out for the front, pull out for both, so that's going to be both front and rear. You can move that, turn those off because that gets annoying. And as with any good Porsche, the key is on the left for the Le Mans start. So take the key, put it in there, and if you twist it all the way to the side without pressing in the clutch or the brake, you get the oil measurement, which is really, really nice. Right there, it only lets you do it when the engine's off and settled down. So there you go. That's where you find that. And pretty nice. So when you want to start this car, you do have to press in the clutch to start the vehicle. And so I'll give you a demonstration on what that looks like right now. Now that we're back in the interior, since this is the S model, as you can see, we have the white dials. On the left, we have the speedometer, so it goes all the way up to 190, but I can assure you, probably doesn't hit that. In the middle, you have your tach, so it goes all the way up to about a red line of 7,000 something. I believe it's 7,600. I'll put up a thing if that's wrong. On the side, you have oil temperature and the fuel, which is nice. You also have the time and the temperature outside. For Texas, 84, I'll take it right now. It's a little hot, but it's okay. In the middle, you do have a screen, so it does have a miles per hour counter, which is really nice because it's just easy to just take a quick glance and look at what you have. So I'm going to turn this vehicle on. I'm going to turn her on here. Go through, as you can see, 7 minutes remaining because the car just started. So we're going to click out of that with this function right here. So as you can see, it says function, set, and reset. So you can scroll through this menu here. So right now you have the fuel economy. So we're sitting at 283 miles left of range. Average of 29 miles per hour, 18.4 miles per gallon. And then if I press in towards the car, it brings up the actual info. So we have information, and if you stay on one line for a little bit, it'll give you some information. So as you can see, it says speed limit. If you go through, you can set limits for yourself to make sure you're not speeding. So we're going to go back. If you press this forward towards yourself, it'll go back. So if you scroll down, you go to info. There's no messages. So if you have any messages, it'll go in there, like if you have your seatbelt off, or maybe if you're low on oil, it'll go into the messages setting. Speaking of oil, if you go into oil, as you can see, you can measure it again, but it's going to make you wait because the car was just on. So best time to check the oil is right when the car is off and cold. So go back, go down. As you can see, if you don't have an S, and if you don't have the Sport Chrono package, you won't have this setting. But if you go into Chrono, the Chrono is a stopwatch. It's right here. As you can see, it says 0 of 0. So if I click start timing, it'll run through and it will start timing my lap. It's just really neat. If I want it to stop timing, I'll just click stop timing. It'll stop it wherever it's at. You can continue it, or you can just click reset. It'll reset the time all the way back to 0. And let's say we start timing again, intermediate time. We can just do, oh, here's a new lap, and then it will start counting up again. Again, stop time, reset, resets the clock back to 0. It's pretty cool. If you want to get back out, oops, just go like that. Oh, I let it go. Hold on, I let it go. Stop time, reset. I always get it confused, so pushing forward brings it back. Now, set is kind of an interesting time. You can reset like the units. So if you want to go back from miles per hour back to kilometers an hour, you can do it through there. Change all these different settings, the clock. So for an older vehicle, to have all of this in the vehicle, in the menu, is actually really nice. Because as you can see, we don't have a screen. To me, not having a screen, it's not a big deal. There was an optional navigation setting which had a screen, but I'm going to go and eventually get the PCCM Plus setup, which is the Porsche Classic Communication System, Management System, which is Apple CarPlay and Bluetooth, all that nice stuff. Because this has no Bluetooth. I don't even see an aux, so just been playing what's on the radio. It has a CD changer, so if you click eject, of course, you'll get the CD coming out of there. All your different menus to change from CD to FM, AM radio, different menus. When you press sound, it brings up the different mixers and equalizers and stuff. On the left, you have the volume button, so you can turn it up and down. And if you press it, it'll turn off or it'll turn on the radio. On the side, this is the tuner, so you can scan through the different channels. And then you have these buttons, which are your different presets for the radio stations. Right above that is the lock and unlock button. So if the car was locked, it would be red right here, and then you just press it and it turns off. If the car is locked, you can just pull the door handle and it will unlock, and then you pull it again, the door will open. And then right in the middle is our hazard buttons, so pretty easy. And then pretty simple. These are just, standard climate controls. They have a little scroll wheel on the side, which is nice. Now down in the center here are the climate controls. My old car did not have this feature, but these seats are heated. So some of these cars do actually have a heated seat feature, which is nice. Front defroster puts it on high and then blows hot air up at the screen to get rid of the fog. Recycle air. You have an eco mode for the compressor. The rear windscreen has a grid, so this is the defroster for there. And as you can see, these buttons are kind of nasty. It's something that happens on these vehicles. I have some replacements that I just haven't had time to put them in yet. On the left, you have temperature control, so that'll go up and down. You have fan control on the right. You have max AC, and then you can change the different positions for where you want the air to come up. I will show the spoiler, but it does have an active spoiler that comes up about 75 miles an hour. I believe it's about 120 kilometers an hour. If that's wrong, I'll put it up on the screen. But one press raises it, and then you do have to hold this button to fully retract it. Now next to that is the sport button. This comes with the sport chrono, and this feature changes the throttle mapping. It does make it just a little bit quicker. You're honestly not really going to feel any different. Now if this had PASM, it may change the dampers, and you may be able to have a button for controlling the dampening of the suspension, but this has just the standard sport suspension on it with the S model. Moving over to the left is PSM, which is Porsche Stability Management Control. That is the stability control, so you don't get all squirrely. Moving it into the center, this fantastic gear lever. It is just one of the most engaging vehicles I've ever driven that has a manual. I love it so much. And to go into reverse, you don't press down, you don't pull up on a collar like a Ford, you just over to the side. One more setting, goes all the way over and then up, and that is reverse. So pretty nice. And this is the 6 speeds. You do have full 6 gears, which is nice. Over to the center console here, we have the handbrake right here, pretty obvious. Good location for it though. Do have some storage back here. You open this up and you have 12-volt outlets and spots for coins, all that kind of stuff. And then in the middle here, do have an ashtray, of course. I took out the cigarette lighter because I don't really need that. No one's smoking in here. Moving over to the passenger side, this interior is actually pretty Spartan, so there's really not a whole lot going on in here. You do have a glove box, so that's nice. It does come with a nice leather kit for the owner's manual and stuff like that. And right above this, oh yeah, it does lock too, which is nice. Like if you're valeting your car, it was especially good for the Boxster because you could leave the top down. As you can see, there's a blank switch there because this does not have a convertible top. And up top here, see it has a little drink icon. Press this, out come the cup holders. These do like to break, so just be mindful of what you're putting in these cup holders. Like, don't put any like super heavy. They do adjust, so you can put something in there and then ratchet it back into place. This is the main thing that likes to break right down here, because this is plastic. So whatever you put down here, just make sure it's not super heavy. Don't put a lot of weight on that. You can also close up the center to give it kind of a nicer, clean look. Open this up, press those back in. Now, if you did have these break, it's a pretty simple fix. When you open the glove box, there's some screws down there, and this slides out like a tray. And then you just slide a new one in, put those screws back, ask me how I know. And then you got a pen holder right here in the glove box, and you do have CD storage. Pretty nice. We'll be needing that once I get the PCCM Plus installed, but it's still pretty nice. Down below with the Bose speaker system, you do have a bigger, you do lose some passenger side space down here, but that's okay. Right underneath there is a 12-volt socket, which is nice. I have my charging cable for my phone, and then as you can see, I have a cable that runs from the back here underneath the the club box here, runs up along the side here. You can see it comes out right here, runs up along the A-pillar. It's pretty easy to tuck in right along the side, and it goes straight to a dash cam. So I did have a commenter asking me about the dash cam. This one is always on. This is a Garmin. It's really nice. It's small. It's out of the way. You're not going to see it when you're driving around, which is nice. It's not going to be in your way, and you can connect it to a phone, which is nice. So right along the back of the glove box there, right up along the A-pillar, boom. Good place to put it. Up on the roof, there's really not a lot going on. You do have a mirror, and it's got a button on it to change whether you want the dimming mirrors or not. Up here, you do have some, this time working, my other cars, these did not work, lights. Up on the roof, you actually have 3 different garage door openers, so you can program that in there, go and open up the garage door. And totally useless sun visors. I mean, these things are completely useless. They're tiny. They do not help at all, but they are there, which is nice. So you got a mirror in there, mirror on both sides, and as opposed to the Boxster, these do have functionality, but they don't adjust in and out. So again, completely useless. They have never helped a single time, but they're there, which is nice. Over along the door here, one control for just the passenger window. Again, we have the Bose surround sound system, so Bose speakers, more door storage on the side, and that is basically it. There is not a lot going on back here. Can move this forward, but as opposed to Boxster, there's no hidey holes or cubbies back here. This carpeted piece back here is actually your front access to the engine. So this pulls down, and there's some more paneling back there, but you get access to the full front of the engine to do belt services, to change out that pesky water pump, which likes to go out on the 987 vehicles as well, and all that good stuff. This vehicle is code name. It's a 987, and it is specifically a .1 generation. So this is the first generation with a lot of the problems. So there is potential for the IMS bearing, but it is not as big of a deal as everyone likes to make it. The problem with this vehicle is definitely the bore scoring. It's something that scares all Cayman S owners of this generation. It's not as big of a deal on the standard Cayman or on the Boxster because of the type of cylinder wall coating. And it is a definite thing that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But since this car is such low mileage, I'm not super worried about it. One of the big things you want to check out for is smoke when you start the vehicle up, soot on the tailpipes, all that good stuff. So if you are thinking about buying one of these vehicles, which I highly recommend, this is just one of the most fun cars I've ever driven. Definitely get the bore scoped with a special scope from a professional just to see what the bore is looking like. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on. The engine in this car is, like I said, a 3.4 liter flat six. It's naturally aspirated. It is the M97.21. You get the heads off of the 911, which is nice. You get some Vario cam stuff going on in there, and it's just a fantastic car to drive. It's not a whole lot of power, and it's just fun to drive. So you can really ring it out and not be breaking the law very much. So it's just a very engaging, very analog car to drive with that hydraulic steering and these 4-piston calipers up here. This overall is a fantastic car, and especially the S, such a great vehicle. If you have any questions about this car, please leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And for this channel, I do have a few thoughts on this channel. I am planning on continuing doing videos on this channel, especially with this car. I'm going to do some DIY stuff, show you how to change the oil, how to change a tire, how to do basic maintenance, how to do the engine air filter, stuff like that. I am planning on doing more reviews on cars. I have some friends that have some pretty cool cars and some connections where I can do some other reviews like this, because I really enjoy showing these cars and what it's actually like to live with, because it's just fun, and cars are what I'm all about. So if you have any ideas for stuff that you want to see on this channel, please leave a comment. And I just want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. There's a lot more to come with this car, and I'm excited to show everyone. Thank you for watching.